All right, what's up, guys? It's Mitch or Deity, and today's video is going to be going over the characters that you will be trying to use to get into RTA. So this is going to be mostly for people who are following my guide, but you can get information out of this regardless. Also, a screenshot of this will be in my Discord if you would like to see this without being on the YouTube video. There will be a picture in there that is screenshotted of this tier list, but this tier list is it's kind of a tier list, kind of a guide. I don't know what to call it, but this is day 19 of the new player guide. At least part one of day 19. This will be its own video, but we are going to be going over RTA. This is going to be the next step in your account. We have pretty much geared up all PvE characters you're going to need. You can at least clear all the content so far. We will make lab teams, but the lab teams, I already have the characters that you're going to be using. I've already told you to work on them. So now that we are going into this, we are going to be learning how to draft RTA. So this is going to be super hard for me to teach you all. If you look here, I have a huge notepad full of stuff that we're going to go over too. So there's going to be a lot to this video, but looking at this is going to be the list I have for you. So your first picks, your draft order in RTA is super important. Learning how to draft properly in the correct order will allow you to win more games. It's not about the characters. It's not about the gear. Always, it's about the order you pick your characters and the order you counter pick your opponent. This comes from playing games. You're going to lose as a new player. You don't even know what half the characters on here's name is, let alone what they do. So you just have to play games and learn. If the first season, if you play 100 games and lose 95 of them, as long as you're taking away things from each game, you're going to end up getting better. So that's one thing, is just slam RTA. Just slam it. After I show you like drafting order and all this from this video, just slam it and go. I'm not going to go over each character. I'm just going to go over a little bit real quick. So your first picks, we have 3 first picks if you're following my guide, guaranteed. You have Spectre Tenebria, you have Mediator Cowric, and you have Arrowwell. These 3 characters are great first picks. They are safe. You can counter pick from there. They add so much to your team. And one thing with like Spectre Tenebria is you take it away from the opponent. So if you're going to first pick Spectre Tenebria, there are pre-bans. So one of the best pre-bans in the game when you first pick Spectre Tenebria is Bellion. Bellion shuts down Spectre Tenebria heavily. So that is something we'll go over too. But you're going to have your general damage dealers. This is like a sloppy guide as to what is pretty solid. Some of the characters fit multiple roles, so if you don't see them, they're probably in another category that I put them in. But just know some of these characters play multiple categories. So for example, Celine, she is in the damage dealer category, but she's probably more of a disruptor character. So there's also going to be your debuffing characters. I did not make a list for that. So they are going to be scattered around into other things, but just bear with me and I'll be explaining all of it. So your damage dealers, you're going to want to have your core damage dealers. If you're following my guide, you're going to have Shu, Aiden, Mercedes, but Spectre Tenebria also fills the damage dealer role. So you got to learn what your first pick role fits so you can draft accordingly. But from there, these are all great characters to build. My suggestion is try to play some RTA with our base roster and see what you need first. So you'll go in, if you're drafting, and following the order, you'll see what characters you lose to, and you have to adjust from there. But these 3 characters you will have, and they will be your core 4 damage dealers right here. So just you'll learn to play them. So if they take Spectre Tenebria, you have Shu, Aiden, and Mercedes all fight Spectre Tenebria decently. So I tried to build you guys' accounts for getting into RTA to where you have a playstyle, but you also have a playstyle to counter it. So these are going to be some damage dealer options. If you see any of these characters on the list, you can try to build them, but do the research first. So for example, last piece Corinne right here, this character, she requires pretty high speed, so you might not want to gear her. Landy requires an artifact called Guiding Light to be very good. If you have her, don't expect to just be able to pick her on a random artifact. You are going to have to learn. And with that being said, I'm making 5 videos, 1 for each element. I will timestamp them. I will show builds for each character. Each character I'll go over for like 3 minutes. Each video is going to be like an hour long, but if you click it, you can skim through, see the character, see how to build them, and go from and see what I say with it and see if it will work for you. So that is one thing with this. You watch this today, I would suggest just playing some games if you are wanting to get into RTA, but just to try it. But I will have those. You can go back, redo your builds once you see those videos, and then start trying to see if you can build some of these characters. Because some of these characters, Mursa isn't one you're going to pick almost ever. She's a budget option. She probably should have went into a tier below in this thing of not recommended, but she's a character that probably everyone's going to have. She's a speed imprint. She has a lot of value, and she can win you games. She's just super easy to gear up and a solid, easy option. Whereas, like I said, last piece Corinne, very hard to build. Your ML Bologna or A Leica, very hard to build. So they're not something you're going to aim for right away. So just keep that in mind. The thing is, a well-built, slower Mursa that survives can almost one-shot an APOC Ravi. So Apocalypse Ravi is one of the characters, if you got them, she's one of the best characters in the game. Really consistent first pick. New players struggle very heavily to beat them. I will be showing like some examples of things. So then you're gonna have your tanks. You are going to want to make sure you have a few tanks. So you already have Airwell. She fits the tank role. A Raz will fit that too. You will have him, and then you'll have Falconer Clary, but she is in Disruptor role. So, our speed contest / disruptor, because that's how we're going to utilize her if you do not have the other options. So you will want to look at this. Yulha and Crow are fantastic characters to have to round out your RTA drafts. Troublemaker Crozet has a lot of value. You can utilize him very well as a newer player. He will fall off later, but he's a character that if you have, you can utilize him well. So if you're finding yourself in a position where your characters are just dying, you don't have enough bulk, you'll want to look into a tank option. Eaton is a 3-star character that can fill that role. So the thing is, right now, if you're playing the game according to my guide, it can be worth substituting some of these characters in for now until you pull the other characters. So the thing is, if you want to get into RTA, you're going to sacrifice having all the meta characters, but I'm going to get you to a point to where you have the gear and things set up to where you're not just sitting on 1,000 characters. None of them have gear, so you can't use them anyway. So right now, because of the way we played the game, you're going to have less characters, but you're going to be able to get into RTA faster and start having more fun with the game, because RTA is the only thing left once you clear PvE content. And RTA is unlimited. You can play as much as you want. So healers and cleansers. Mediator Cowrick fills the cleanser role. He is the best at it in the game. So if you have him first picked, then you already have one of your cleansers. These are some cleansing options. Destina is one of the best as well. That's why I had you get her from Selective Summon. She can be used in basically every RTA draft and will help you learn. She revives, which is nice. Rowana is going to kind of be a healer. She's more of a counter pick. I don't know why she's in here. She'll be more of a counter pick, but she does heal. She gives some revive buff. She has a lot of benefits. She's very good. She's more a counter pick. But all the characters here, as you see, there aren't a lot of cleansers that you're going to have early on, because limited unit, ML5, ML5, limited, ML5, limited. Cleansers are rough in this game. That is why I suggest to get Mediator Cowrick. There are very few that you will have as a new player, and even old players, Mediator Cowrick just outclasses all of these in here. So he's just by far the best option possible. So now we're going to look at speed contest / disruptors. This was a weird thing to make a class. This is the kind of characters you can pick, and you want to disrupt your opponent. So if your opponent is deciding to play somewhat slow, you'll learn what characters are fast and slow. Then you'll want to pick a disrupting character or speed contest them in at least some way within the first 4 picks. If you do not do that, then if you are second pick, the opponent will have 4th and 5th pick that they can pick together. So if you have 4 slow characters on your team and you don't have like any anti-cleave style thing set up or anything like that, then they can just pick 2 fast characters at the end of the draft, one that combat readiness pushes their team up, or just heavy damage to just kill you before you get a chance to do anything, because you only have 1 pick left. You'll pick something, a speed contest within that, and then your opponent will just ban it, and they guarantee will have at least one of their 2 speed characters will go first, establishing them right off the gate. So that is one thing you have to be super worried about. With Falconer Clary, she's a character we're all going to have. We're already using her for PvE content. My advice is put your fastest gear on Falconer Clary until you get one of these other options. And honestly, you can use 2. You want 2 of these type of characters. So having Falconer Clary and Angel of Light Angelica can be very big, because you could pick them both. You could pick Falconer Clary, or I would pick Angel of Light Angelica as your 4th pick, which then makes your opponent less likely to try to just overrun you with 2 speed characters at the end of the draft. So an example is they could pick Faithless Lidica plus Closer Charles. That's probably wouldn't do that, but they're both characters that combat readiness push their team, so they could have a whole rotation over you, and whoever goes first in this game has a big advantage. So by going first, you can reset your opponent's skills, you can land debuffs, and it's very, very oppressive. So you want to try to avoid allowing them to just have complete control of the draft. Next up, we have Anti-Cleave. Anti-Cleave is very important for a new player. You're going to learn the characters that are cleave characters. So cleaving is when the opponent picks very fast and wants to kill you in 1 turn, basically. So you're going to be picking characters that disrupt that. Or these are a mix of different things. Some of them do damage. Some of them will add evasion, like Assassin Cartusia. So having characters like this, there are certain ones that are easy to gear, like Assassin Cartusia. Ellen is pretty easy to gear to get to work early on, and you will want to use them to just give you a chance to win. Because against cleavers who know what they're doing, against a new player, you're just relying on RNG. That's where Assassin Cartusia can come in clutch, because if your RNG just pops off, then you are fantastic. So Aiden is a character that also fits into Anti-Cleave, but she is up in the general damage dealer spot. So she is one of the best Anti-Cleave picks. So counter picks are going to be things like Dark Corvus, Arbiter Vildred. Arbiter Vildred as a 5th pick is still really good in RTA. Violet if they pick green characters. Carrot if they pick up no cleansing options and all damage dealers. So ML Landy and certain things like that, Carrot can work okay into. This is a specially changed Carrot. If they pick AoE damage, this Inferno Kawazu can be pretty solid. If they pick reviving characters, if you build a good Singelica, she prevents reviving and gives you dual attacks. So there, and then Apocalypse Ravi, Sharoon, this is like an S tier character right here. Sharoon is fantastic. If they try to cleave you with squishy units, Karina is a limited character you guys won't have, but it's about learning the game. Now, these are cleave units. These are all characters that have really high base stats and really cool sounding abilities that is going to bamboozle you into thinking that you want to gear them right away. As a new player, you want to avoid this tier pretty much always. You are not going to have the speed gear to make any of these characters work. We have imprints in here, such as Watcher Shuri, or Green Vildred, and Surin. Watcher Shuri is okay to gear. Sid can be okay too, but they are the only 2 within this tier I would bother trying to mess with as a newer player. These characters add speed imprints, so sometimes if you get lucky on your speed rolls, you could build Sid early on like 250, 260 speed, and then pick him plus your fastest character that isn't on damage, and it gives you an extra 10 speed to contest. So there are some nice things you can do with that. So say you have a 250 green Sid and a 260 speed Falconer Clary. Your Falconer Clary now becomes 270. Your Falconer Clary can provoke their fastest unit, locking them down, and then they will have to attack your Falconer Clary. Then that's where your Sid can come in and kill the character that Falconer Clary defense broke. So it gives you a lot of options. So these are the only 2 worth. The rest of these just require too high of gear to even worry about trying to build. Now I have a usable but not suggested. I was just kind of dragging stuff around. I don't know about this tier. If you see any of the characters not on the list so far, I would say they're not worth messing with. So going into this here, I don't think I missed anything. If I did, you can comment it down below as to what you think, or if you think something could be used. This is focused on newer players getting an RTA. But your overall core thing going in RTA. Let me go in here and what is the zoom then? Control plus. So control plus. All right. So early notes for RTA. Placements to masters. If you follow my guide, your RTA roster already consists of Aiden, Spectre Saber, Airwell, Shu, Mediator Cowrick, Destina, and Falconer Clary. I believe there might be 1 or 2 more, but you already have a decent setup. But you could go in, and if they don't steal any of your picks, you have a full draft that you can do. So now, there are things you need to establish. Just play the game. I said this earlier. Just play the game. Play some RTA matches. Once you get these characters at least set up, you are going to want to put your fastest gear on Falconer Clary once you start doing this. But just play. Just learn. See what characters do. You're going to lose a lot. That's just part of the game. Like, if you don't play, you never learn. So you can learn from just watching videos. But first-person experience in doing something will help you so much. Next up, fill out damage dealer roles with what you have. So if you see a couple of characters on the damage dealer role option, you can go to my videos that I'm going to be uploading over the next few days and see the builds on them and see and listen to what I say and see if that's something that could work for you. And that shouldn't be the first thing on this list, but it is something you'll want to do. You want to have 2 to 3 cleanser options. So you have Meteor, Cowrick, Destina. finding a third cleanser option within your characters will help you a lot, just in case they steal your characters. You want to have a backup. So having at least 3 could be good, but the fact that you already have Destina and Mediator Cowrick, you're golden. So now have fastest gear on Disruptor unit. I just said this. Falconer Clary. She will pretty much be a placeholder. And guys, she's still great in early RTA. She's still great in late RTA too, but no one plays her because there's better options. But if I were to go play Falconer Clary in the slot that I play some of my disrupting characters, she would work great still. So the only problem with her is there's a mechanic called 15%. No matter how much effectiveness you have, you still have the ability to miss your debuffs. And that is one of the main problems with Falconer Clary is you can miss your debuffs. So you could use her, you could take turn 1, have the game 1, use your skill 3 to provoke and defense break the character that's the main threat, and then they resist it and you still lose. So that is one of the risks for Flurry, but for learning how to play RTA, she will fill that role for you, and you'll just have a couple annoyances here and there where you lose games you should have won. And that's just part of RTA. You're going to have to understand that. There is RNG in this game so that new players like you can beat existing players like me who have played for 4 years. I could fight some of you, and if you pick Aiden, she is a heavy RNG carried character, I could just lose to you. As a 4-year player with insane gear, I could just lose. That is one thing I do like about the RNG of this game is it will give you a chance to beat people you should never beat. So RNG always favors the newer player. So that is one thing with Epic 7. It's annoying for all of us old ones, but it's good for new ones. So you want to establish 2 to 3 tanks. You're going to have Arrowell. Lilius is a great option. Raz, I said Crow and Yulha. Yulha, I would say, is better than Crow, but they're both really good early game tanks that can help you fight pretty much everything. So those are just a couple tank options, but try to get 2 to 3 established tanks and then get some anti-cleave. My suggestion is the first character you get from Story Summon is going to be Senya. Senya is just so nice for so many things. She's going to be used on arena defense, guild war defense. If you want, she just can be usable everywhere, but having a Senya for anti-cleave for RTA, if you watch my 30-day to master challenge on a new account, I use Senya constantly, and she just wins me games for free. She's a character that can 1v4 the enemy if they pick trying to cleave you or win fast because all those characters are squishy. She can just kill all of them by herself, and you just win for free. So Senya, in my opinion, would be the first pick to go to for your first story summon. The reason you don't get Senya from your selector is Senya has her artifact on the story summon, which is amazing. So if you get her artifact, it's best in slot on her, and you slap it on, and you're good to go. If you don't get Senya's artifact, she's still very usable. I used her on an artifact called Bastion of Perlucia, Bastion of Perlucia on the 30-day account challenge. It worked great. So now, many characters fit multiple roles. I talked about that. Do a lot of reading of skills as you are learning the game. If you fight a character that you do not know what it did, or like why it did what it did, there's a hero journal in the game. You can go look at any character and see and read their skill kit. So just go and learn. That is my best advice that I can give to you for that. So now one thing that I just suggest is once you get this set up, these characters are all geared. Your Aiden, Spectani, Arrowell, Shu, Meteor, Cowrick, Destina, Falconer, Clary, and Fire Mercedes on there? Fire Mercedes, sorry. So I know there's a couple I'm missing, but you'll know based off what you have. Like Vivian, some of them are PvE only, but Fire Mercedes is going to be a character you can use as well. But whenever you have these characters geared, just go try some RTA matches. See how it goes. Whenever you're getting into the RTA match, I will say many games come down to draft order. It's not always about gear. I would say this game right now is more of a character pool, or like maybe not character pool, but like overall just drafting game. If you counterpick your opponent, they could be the best player ever with the best gear, and if you counter them with the best picks possible, even on mediocre gear, you can win. Like it's just a big part of it is just having the specific roles filled to where you know what to pick against the opponent. So your goal is to pick your ace counter later once you already have countered their draft. So for an example of that, if you see they're cleaving and they first pick Ran, or say Zeo or something, and you think they're going cleave, you're going to immediately pick Aiden and Arrowell, because Arrowell gives you sustainability on your team, and Aiden is a dodge character that can counter if she dodges. Both great. Now, then another character, like I was just saying, Senya, you would end up picking maybe Fire Mercedes third, and then fourth you could pick like Destina or something or Mediator Cowrick is better on Warhorn. You'll pick Mediator, Cowrick, Mercedes. Just Mercedes is decent for anti-cleave. Then from there, depending on how they pick, you pick Senya at the end. Now you have 2 anti-cleave characters, and then you have your Senya, which they're going to feel like they must ban. It's not always the case. Sometimes drafts are always different, but that is just a sloppy copy example. You want to save like your big carry, so you pick one hard counter like Aiden into anti-cleave, and then you pick Senya at the end. And they don't know which to ban. Do I ban Aiden? Do I ban Senya? Usually it's Senya, because Senya can more easily solo the enemy, but it just is, it's all dependent on the draft. There are millions of different combinations. I think there's like, I don't know what, there's like 150 characters people pick, or really people mostly pick the same 60, but still 150 times 150, probably a pretty big number. Well, it's even more than that because it's 5 different picks. I don't know. It's a huge number of possibilities. So you will learn. There are common ones that you'll see, and you'll get better from there. So now establish your 3 first picks, or your first picks. There are 3 different characters that I said: Meat-Eater Cowrick, Spectre Tenebria, and Arrowwell are my suggestions. You could even first pick Aiden, but there are a lot of Aiden counters in the game, just as there's a lot of Spectre Tenebria counters. With Spectre Tenebria, by first picking her, then she's okay into fighting Aiden. Whereas if you first pick Aiden, if they pick Spectre Tenebria, they are at the advantage against you already. So just keep that in mind. You can try different things. Just see what works for you as you play more. Just try different first picks. In RTA, trying a different first pick can completely change how you see the game and learn the game just from that one pick. It's crazy. So now, first picking Stenny, pre-banning Bellion. So your first pre-ban, this is a good way to learn. Just pre-ban Bellion so you can freely pick Spectre Tenebria and go from there. If they pick Spectre Tenebria right away, then you need to pick your Fire Mercedes and different in your shoe just to be able to counter them. So second picks are generally going to be supports, tank / cleanser, or a disruptor. And if you pick like Meteor Cowrick or a non-damage dealer as your first pick, and your second and third pick, you will pick a damage dealer, usually an element neutral damage dealer, so you don't have to worry about being counterpicked. So within that, you will pick example. Here's a draft example. Well, for the 4th or 5th pick, it'd be a mix of 2 damage dealers, a counter pick damage dealer. So like if they pick a grass unit, you pick a fire unit, or a disruptor. So this is going to be how you round out your drafts. So draft examples: Spectre Tenebria first pick, then you pick Airwell Destina if you were first pick, and then you pick Shu, Aiden, or Meat-Eater Cowrick, depending on how they go. If Aiden looks good, you pick her. Meat-Eater Cowrick, always good. So Shu can solo a game a lot of the time, and so can Spectre Tenebria. So there are certain characters that can just win you fights by themselves, and 2 of them are in the game, are in this right now, and Aiden is also a character that can just win fights solo. So you just have to just get used to get used to picking and seeing what they do, and then make decisions from there. You'll learn that Aiden is countered by Zahak, last piece Corinne. She can be Crowd or Yulhood to death. They have true damage, so if they're missing a lot of HP, they can just one-shot you. Dark Corvus could one-shot her, but I don't know. I don't think you see a lot of Dark Corvuses. But there are just certain matchups you'll learn over time. That's just playing the game. Now, here's another example. If they pick Spectre Tenebria, you can go Arrowwell Aiden. So Aiden isn't great in Spectre Tenebria, but not bad. It creates a situation where Spectre Tenebria wants to kill the Aiden right away. And you can go Meat-Eater Cowrick, Shu, Mercedes. You can also splash a Destina in here for a revive in case Specteni does kill Aiden. But you do want 2 AoEs. Mercedes obliterates Spectre Tenebria. The reason you go Shu first is you don't want to go Mercedes and have them pick Shu against you, because Mercedes is fire, so Shu is going to be water. Shu is great against Mercedes, so you always, if you have a character in mind when drafting, you want to pick a character that isn't as easily countered first. So say if you pick Shu, you know you're going to Mercedes the player, so you pick Shu. Shu is Shu is water. The opponent will be more likely to pick a grass or earth unit. And then guess what? Your last pick is Mercedes. It's good against Spectre Tenebria and the earth unit, creating a situation there they pretty much have to ban it. Meaning you're going to have your Aiden and your Shu. If they don't pick double grass at the end, then you can just ban the grass character they picked, so that way your Shu's not at an elemental disadvantage, and go from there. There's a lot of things you can learn. So I am covering the notepad. I'm sorry. That is what the notepad said. I'm sure some people are going to complain about that. But either way, coming down from playing games, you'll establish what the enemy is planning over time. As you play more RTA, I can always go into an RTA match and I can usually guess what the opponent's going to pick in almost every draft once it comes down to like 4th, 5th pick. First 3 picks are usually the hardest, but 4th, 5th pick, you just become so used to seeing top 3 units and what wins against that. And then it's very, very quick from there. So you will just learn. You'll just learn. So one thing is if you see them first pick Ran, which isn't as common anymore, you just slam Aiden and plan to pick a simulator. And then that's just a quick example. But that is the getting into RTA guide. So a lot of information here. Like I said, the tier list is going to, or I don't even call this a tier list. This is more of a kind of a tier list. It's a RTA strategy list. But you can come in here, look at these characters. I will have those videos coming up starting later today. I will have the fire one and probably the water one done today. And then tomorrow I'll try to finish the other 3. So a 5-video series to teach you builds for every character and tell you what they are good for. Like a 3-minute quick interview with each character. So thank you guys for watching. If you're new and willing to subscribe, that'd be awesome. It helps me out a lot. I'm almost at 15K subs. But I'm excited to try to get you guys into RTA. This is very, very hard, but I'm trying to get a way to where new players can start playing RTA and enjoy the only content really in the game that's left once you clear story. And that way you have more motivation to play the game. Because once you clear story, if you're not playing RTA and you have just a ton of characters and no gear on any of them, then you don't have any motivation to play because you're not really working toward anything. You're working toward gearing a character. And gearing that character, you're just working toward gearing it. You don't know what you're going to use it in. You just want to build it. But this way, you're working toward getting better at RTA, building characters that will get you better at RTA. So it's a constant feel like you're progressing. And that is the thing that hooks you on this game, is constantly feeling like you're getting stronger and stronger, which you get that feeling as a new player as you're clearing story, but it goes away for a while if you hold off on RTA. It's very easy to become bored with the game because you are not feeling that progression anymore. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys are excited to be getting into RTA. If you guys have questions though, if you're trying to play RTA matches, join my Discord. We have 5,000 people already. Just post your picture in there of your draft and ask, where did I go wrong? Or if you have a good draft, post it in there and say, I won this game. It's going to help everyone. If people see your draft, they'll learn. So it's a learning experience that we can all do together and get a bunch more people into playing Epic 7 RTA. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.